This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
So if you have been following the sordid tale of the defamation case against Alex Jones, you know that 2 years worth of text messages were released to opposing counsel. Mark Bankston, I think his name is. And those texts have now been released over to the January 6th Select Committee investigating the insurrection, of which Alex Jones played a role. He was there in the days before the insurrection, giving speeches, whipping people into a frenzy, saying on camera that the White House asked him to lead the mob 30 minutes before the speech ended. It's a very brief clip. If you don't remember this from what he said about his role and what the White House instructed him to do.
Then the White House told me 3 days before, we're going to have you lead the march. The Secret Service, before Trump finishes 30 minutes before, so we'll lead you to a point, take you out of the front row, and lead you to the place where they want you to start the march, and Trump will tell people, go and I'm going to meet you at the Capitol.
So he's in this thick as thieves. He is in this close to Roger Stone, where the intimate text messages, I did a video about it yesterday, ended up Alex Jones saying that he sent naked pictures of his wife. Well, there's another character in American politics, the host of the white supremacy fireside chat on Fox News on an every night basis, Tucker Carlson. And I'm going to read from this Daily Beast article that Tucker Carlson is shitting himself, scared that his Alex Jones texts may leak. You may not know, maybe I should start with the video, a little mashup that Media Matters put together, of the close intertwined relationship between Tucker Carlson, the avowed white nationalist, talking about white genocide and the Great Replacement theory, a white supremacist, if there ever was one, and his closeness to Alex Jones. All of the fond things that they've said about one another and intimating how close they are on an interpersonal basis. Let's start with the video. Watch this.
Why do we laugh at Alex Jones again? Sincere question.
Tucker's understood this for 3-4 years. I've been friends with Tucker for about 8, 9.
I mean, you know as well as I, there's nobody in the press who is culturally on the same page as you are, or I am for that matter.
Alex Jones. Tucker
Carlson.
Alex Jones.
Tucker Carlson.
Tucker
Carlson.
For the record, we have never endorsed any kind of conspiracy theory on the show and never would. FBI operatives were organizing the attack on the Capitol on January 6th.
This was a psychological warfare operation to manipulate a crowd. I had been working with other folks to get the information, obviously, out to the great Tucker Carlson.
By the way, you're totally right. If Congress didn't exist and the White House could do whatever it wanted, you wouldn't have a single firearm in your house. They'd be confiscated. You'd be in jail for even having them.
Here's Tucker Carlson.
Alex Jones. How about Alex Jones?
Tucker Carlson really is getting it.
Alex Jones.
So here's what Tucker Carlson had to say about it.
Alex Jones.
Tucker Carlson's finally hitting on this.
Alex Jones.
Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson says you're right about gay frogs.
Alex Jones. Ew. We're not allowed to like him.
So when does the zombie finally fall down and die, or can it not die because it's already dead? Tucker Carlson.
I've never heard it put that way, but I love it.
So that should clue you into exactly how fearful Tucker Carlson is about his Alex Jones communications becoming public. Because the DOJ, while they are locked down pretty tight and there's not a lot of leaks there, Congress is a different story, and it always has been. I would love myself to get a hold of those 2 years worth of text messages. If there's a congressional staffer out there, you got my email address, daily@dollemore.com. I'm on Twitter, DM me. I'd love to see some text messages. Reading from this Daily Beast article, Tucker Carlson is shitting himself over the possibility that texts between him and the far-right conspiracy loon Alex Jones will leak, a source close to the Fox News star told Confider. Carlson and the raving InfoWars ranter trade text messages on a daily basis, according to two people familiar with their relationship. If made public, these sources said, the text messages would be highly embarrassing for Carlson. 2 years worth of text messages sent and received by Jones are now in the possession of the United States House Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol insurrection after the far-right conspiracy king's lawyers accidentally sent a digital copy of all of his texts to the lawyers representing the families affected by the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre, which Jones repeatedly dubbed a hoax. Last week, a Texas jury ruled that Jones must pay a combined $49 million in compensatory and punitive damages to the parents of one of the school children killed in that 2012 mass shooting. Carlson and Jones have maintained a friendly relationship for years. The Fox News primetime star has had multiple appearances on InfoWars, gushed over Jones's unhinged rhetoric, branded him more talented than I am, and supplied a fawning blurb for the bullshitting blowhard's upcoming book. Maybe, this is a quote, maybe Alex Jones is onto something, Carlson wrote of his pal on the back cover of The Great Reset and The War for the World. Quote, read this book and decide for yourself who's crazy. Carlson and Jones, of course. Carlson and Jones, of course, did not respond to multiple requests for comment. Look, Tucker Carlson is as pernicious, if not more, in American society than Alex Jones. Tucker Carlson is a dangerous demagogue, a liar, a purveyor of hate in our country. He has said on Fox News that immigrants make our country poorer and dirtier. That's a quote. He didn't distinguish undocumented immigrants, or as he would put it, illegal aliens. No, just immigrants. They make our country poorer and dirtier, according to Tucker Carlson. Alex Jones, on the other hand, doesn't just rant and rave about making the frogs gay. It's not just about that for Alex Jones. It is also fomenting insurrection against the United States of America, whipping up his insane fan base to violence, to attack the United States Capitol, all to hawk his phony BS supplements and his buckets of prepper food, earning what some say hundreds of millions of dollars. More money since he's been deplatformed, the experts have said, than before. And I contend the reason that he has made more money, even though he's deplatformed, taken off Facebook and Twitter and here on YouTube, is because the right, Republicans, have openly embraced him. They have legitimized him as a journalist, when he is nothing but an idiot, a provocateur, a blowhard, a demagogue, a dangerous individual who dispatches stalkers to the parents who have lost their children in school shootings. Some of these parents have had to move more than a dozen times because for fear of their life. And that's because of Alex Jones. So when you have assholes like Tucker Carlson or Joe Rogan trying to legitimize Alex Jones and saying things like he's more right than he is wrong, they need to be held to account too. So listen, I'm all on board for those text messages to be released. I am begging for someone to send me them. What do you think about this? I'd love to know. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'd also love to hear from you on social media. You can connect with me on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram. I am at Dollemore all the way across the board, all of those platforms. Check it out. And if I do something for you, if I bring news to you that you might not have otherwise heard, or bring you a laugh, or just information and passion for making our country a better place, please consider supporting my work, helping take part in the mission of this program, saving our democracy. You can click the join button below this video, become a channel member for just pennies a day, $1.99 a month, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. I love you guys. I appreciate you very much. Be genuine. Take care of one another.